Check. Here we go. We got audio again. Are you there? Can you check in with me on the chat? Can you hear me? How can I start this stream with him doing that? It's unreal. He's just right in the background. Ride or die. All right, guys, let's get into it. We have something really, really special that we're doing right now. I'm gonna teach. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you something. Whether it's about you know signal flow or not, we're gonna talk about signal flow. First, we need to set up this image. There's a really important image that I need to have. Here we go. Okay. Arr! All right, so I'm gonna play a track for you in the background. It might be a little bit too much, but we're gonna get crazy with it. Anyways. Check. Microphone check. Check. Swaggers. Okay, guys. So we got a picture right here. Yeah, a nifty little picture that I made. And I wanted to discuss something with you tonight. Okay, I'm going to just open up with, what do you think the rare fraction of air is traveling upon when it travels through a wire? When sound travels through a wire, what happens? Ask a question and you shall receive. I gotta go get my phone. Okay, guys. I say that a lot, don't I? Okay, guys. Yeah. So we did that. We need to Val, are you there? Can you hear me?
Absolutely. I'm right here and fully tuned in.
Okay, so we got a track playing in the background. We're streaming live 6157 kpps. We've been on here for 17 minutes now. It is now 8:21. What time would it have been since I timestamped the start of the stream?
Certainly. In that forward-thinking corporate spirit, let's get right to the point. If we've been live for 17 minutes and it's currently 8:21, then you began streaming at exactly 8:04. So that's the timestamp for the start of your stream.
So I was a little late. I said I would be on around 8.
Absolutely.
So Val, we wanna turn down the monitor speaker real quick.
Of course, let's frame that in professional and forward-thinking way. It's absolutely understandable to adjust your monitoring levels as needed. In a corporate sense, we're simply optimizing your audio environment to maintain that polished, consistent output. So go ahead and dial those monitor speakers down as you see fit.
Yep, so I turned it off.
That's a solid call. In a professional sense, you've just streamlined your monitoring setup to keep everything running smoothly. It's a practical and respectful step that ensures you maintain that profession.
All right, a respectful step. All right, so let's go forward a little bit, Val. We have something really good that we're doing right now. We're gonna teach. I have an image that I'm gonna share with you on my screen.
Absolutely. Let's move forward with that mindset. It sounds like we're stepping into a really productive and educational moment. I'm definitely ready to take a look at the image you're going to share, and we'll keep everything on that professional and respectful track as we go.
Now, there's stuff missing from this particular picture. I want you to create a newer version of this particular picture, and we'll go ahead and post that too as well. But I want you to grab the information from the screen that's here. Can you see it, Val?
Absolutely. I can see it, and we'll handle that in a
It's not written completely right. And when it just says headphones, they're not DT 990 Behringers. You know what I mean? Pros.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So some of the text is wrong. Like it says NPC 1 Plus.
Absolutely. In that case, let's go ahead and make those corrections. We'll take a forward-thinking and professional approach by updating the image with the accurate model names and any other details you need. It's all about ensuring everything is properly aligned and polished, and we'll get that update.
Regenerate the whole picture.
Absolutely.
Regenerate the picture now. What do you guys think about the track that's playing in the background? It's kind of cool, huh? You know why I do Loopology? Because it's not just a hobby to me. It actually helps with my mind. Okay. So we have the image coming up. Val, I don't think that image generation was correct. We need a signal flow chart. I don't want any pictures. I want you to use my equipment ledger that I have, okay, within the memory that we've saved for my tax records. And I want you to create a signal flow chart. Regenerate a brand new picture. I want you to use as correctly as possible everything that's in the equipment list and then show it like this.
Absolutely. We can definitely refine that in a more way. In a professional sense, we'll take the specifics from your equipment ledger, those details you've noted for your tax records, and lay out a brand new signal flow chart. We'll keep it straightforward with a clear, formal, and respectful presentation. No extra images, just the correct equipment in a horizontal flow. Let's get that regen for you right away.
Go ahead and regenerate the picture now. All right, we think you're gonna come up with a good signal flow chart. Let's see. I don't think she did though. I don't think she completed it. It's not horizontal. No, not even close. No. It can't understand the complete signal flow. Val, stop playing around. We want you to create a picture here. You got to get going with it, right? All right, now we're just wasting time. All right, so let me just start, guys. We have the start of the signal flow. See the first arrow? We have what are called instruments, okay? This can be anything that's used to create the sound, if you will. It could be, let's say, let's see if we can do this. Yeah. Oh God. I'm so tired right now. Here's where I want you to get comfortable with something new. This would be the SB X 100. Or it's XB. I don't see the text. Nope. Oh, it's because it's white. Oh, man. I wanted to do it presentation style. Oh, maybe it's behind everything. Yeah, it's behind everything. So we need to do this. Would that work? Nope. All right, now we're just wasting time. We've been on for half an hour now, and it's not doing anything. Val, I need you to come up with a picture again. I've got two phones. You know what? I'll have Grok do it or whatever. I have the signal flow chart. Saved on the computer, that's why. Duh. Hey, Val. Okay, we're gonna go for it. All right, guys. So real quick, signal flow. What is it? Signal flow is where you have a bunch of machines that are connected to each other. Basically, in a musical sense, in a small musical sense, right? We have a bunch of looping equipment, right? To capture sound and play sound at the same time. So it's kind of like having an orchestral body, if you will, that can capture sound and replay it. Does that make sense? So having two loopers, right, directly connected to each other the way that I've set this up is kind of unheard of. It hasn't been done, I don't think. At least I haven't seen anybody do it. That's what makes my Loopology process a proprietary branding opportunity and a value position. It also speaks to the vision that I have to the craft and to own the craft of making loops and designing music that way. So, with that said, I have a lot of talking to do. We're going to start here with the signal flow, right? You see the little arrow, right? This is what the signal flow is doing. Squishing me out, right? Let's do it now. Okay, now I want to make a point. Now you see it. All right, so it says signal flow. All right, we're going to turn down the music real quick so you can just hear me and focus. You must focus now, guys. We got the picture up. All right, so we've got this picture. And what it's doing, guys, is it's showing you signal flow in a horizontal fashion, like she had said. We have our instruments, our VST instruments, our MPC-1 Plus. Okay. We have a PSR by Yamaha, a wonderful piano synthesizer, right? We have Grace Epiphone guitar, which is a Les Paul, okay? Then we have an SM58 microphone, and then we have the SXB 100s, all right? Now, the thought process here is that we don't actually have a phone connected to any of this yet. All right. And it's important to realize that. We need to correct the signal flow. Now, did you hear how I corrected the signal flow? I took out the MPC One Plus because there was some fuzziness going on with the input jack. I believe it's the cable. It's a bad cable. Don't use bad cables. Let's talk about that too as well. All right. So on here, right, we have again the first row. All right. The instruments, the VST instruments, the MPC One Plus, the Yamaha PSR keyboard, Grace Epiphone guitar. We have a microphone. How could a microphone be an input device? Well, it really can't be. All right. But what goes into the microphone can be, like a vocal or Bluetooth speakers, right? Captures the sounds and then sends it through onto monitoring. I want you guys to understand that that process is what's called remiking. That's one way of looking at it. However, if you use a specific curve, right, using the equipment's frequency spectrum, it can capture the sound and then monitor it at a different level. And then what it's doing is it's taking the room and then playing out the room sound. What the speakers sound like next to the microphone inside of that room space. So it's doubling the sound in the room. So the thought process is that we're going to get real geeked out here and we're going to study the signal flow. All right? We're going to do this. You have the RC505 MK1 on the other side of that arrow on the left. You see that? I know you can, because this image is definitely looking right at me and saying, okay, I've got this thing going on. Well, that's a MK1. That's the first version, the Mark 1. All right. Then we have another arrow going to the RC505 MK2, which is the later version of the RC505. Then from there, right, we have a cable out, all right, to the interface, which would be the interface in. Does that make sense? So all of what's going out of the instruments, the MPC, the piano, all of that's being captured and sent through the MK1 into the MK2. Then onto the Focusrite. The Focusrite is a digital interface. Does that make sense? All right. It captures the sound, then transmits it, right, to the BXA5. See at the bottom there, the monitoring. That's how I have it set up, right? Then I have my headphones plugged into the interface too, and that's also why I can hear without any latency. I want to talk a little bit about latency. Sample rates, all right, that you have. Higher sample rate, less time that it takes to travel through the wire, if you will. I believe that's correct. Check me if I'm wrong. Say it in the chat, guys. But let's talk about traveling through that cable, if you will, right? Onto the different spots from the MPC One Plus, right? The MPC One Plus, right, guys? All right. You hear it? Yep, it's making a noise. All right, so now the MPC One Plus is plugged in. All right, we can make noise from it. right? We can make noise from it. We can make noise from the piano. Okay? Right? Or the guitar. Right? I'll just turn the guitar up. Hopefully Grace will play for me. Probably not. No. She's not gonna play. Oh, there we go. All right. So you got Grace Epiphone guitar, right? You got the MPC 1 Plus. You got the Yamaha PSR EW300 piano, right? Then everything goes into the MK1, right? So it stops there, okay? It makes a stop there. The sound makes a stop there. And it says, okay, well, now what do you want to do with it? Do you want to loop it? Do you want to make a loop? Make a loop. You know you want to make a loop. Make a loop. No, you don't make any loops on that one. Dummy. Yeah, no, not at all. That's not the process. Okay? You can, though. It's not the process. So don't get twisted here as far as that sound, the sound goes. That was never designed. It was never designed that way. I use it as an effects or a tone device, if you will. So what it's doing is it's taking the tone, right, and sample rate, if you will, right, at a certain rate, and then it's going to the MK2, right? Flowing. Signal flow mastery, right? Then you have your interface, right? The focus, right? That little red box, the Scarlet Solo, right? Which is only a two input interface. It has two inputs, 1 and 2. Yep. One's on the front, which is usually using a TRS cable. All right. Tip ring sleeve is what that stands for. If you didn't know, a TRS or TS, tip sleeve, right? TS cable has one ring. A TRS has two rings. You'll see it on the actual, the end of the wire, if you will, that you're plugging in. So you've got this flow, okay? Then you've got what's called loopology, right? What happens next, right? What really happens next? There's a lot of things that you can do. You can remic. You can take the sounds themselves and blend them. If you can do it quick enough and hear it quick enough and stay in time, you can literally create layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of music. Yeah. And it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And layering. If you muddy up the mix with too many instruments playing all at once, it sometimes sounds bad. Other times it doesn't sound bad. I've started to realize that it doesn't sound bad. You may have your own viewpoint. Too much chaos or too much stuff going on at once is probably not all that good. So, for instance, here, we'll play this one part of the track. We got the bass, which is played by the EW300 a few times in a loop, right? It goes around in a circle and then makes another round of the circle, playing it the same but just different a little bit. Okay, that's why it sounds like it's doubled like that. Right? So the looper, when you push the button, right? The looping button, right? The one with the play record on it, right? It has 5 on it. Each one of these has 5 on it. I didn't make the right boxes or the right equipment. I wanted you to know that. That's what we were trying to get Val to do earlier. But this serves as a good starting point. Again, signal flow is all about how the sound is traveling through the wires. Premium wires. That's what you want. In order to get a really good sound, you want premium wires. Don't just buy your $6 one, at the store expecting to get the best sound possible, because it's just not going to happen. It's not. There's too much interference going on that cable. Yeah, we'll get into that later. All right, so you've got the bass, right? Then let's just say you wanted to play this Vienna line. Then you came up with another Vienna line. Then the original origin track. The origin track is this track, because it's what made the tempo. All right, so let me teach you a little something about looping. Your origin track, or the first track that's recorded on the looper, okay, will become the origin track. It's what all the other tracks are based off of, or what the looper tries to make sure that it does for you. That's what makes it easy. You just press the button, and it'll say, "Oh, okay, you were a little late there. You're almost 2 beats off, so I'm gonna add, 4 more to you." Right? Let's say it's 6, and then 6, and you got 12, right? Then you play, 24, and keep doubling it and keep layering it. The point that I'm trying to make is the origin track, right, has a tempo correlation. So the looper is going to try, okay, not you as a looper, the looping machine, the RC505 MK1 or MK2 is trying to loop. It loops the track for you after you hit the button again. So it's called the origin point. That's what I call it. But it is the source of where the tempo comes from. So then it says, okay, we got a tempo of 89.7, right? And then you hit your metronome to listen to it, right? If you're good enough with timing, you don't need a metronome to play. No. That's where this craft comes into play. You have to feel it. You gotta feel the vibe of the song. You know what I mean? As it goes. You know what I mean? And really get into it. Find the pocket, if you will, and go for it. Be in time. I say it's called being punctual on the beat. Does that make an excellent point? When you're on time for work, right? And you're not late for work, right? Do you understand? You're punctual. You're showing up on time. All right. Be punctual, guys. All right, so we've got what's called here all the way on the right-hand side, right? There's this little bunch of lines. One's horizontal and one, that is what's called Ableton. Okay? It is a DAW, or a digital audio workstation. So where that is found, right, is in a download, right? You download this thing, and what it does is it reads the sound and records it on your computer. Okay, guys? A DAW, you can't really, you don't really have too many DAWs on your phone. Now, I used a small DAW, okay, called Dolby Odd when I first started looping, and it was on my phone. The signal flow was much different because I used what's called a dongle. Okay? It was a tip ring sleeve to a USB-C. Does that make sense? The USB-C would be plugged into my phone, right? And anything that went through that TRS cable, right, was being captured by that dongle and then sent to my phone's audio. And it was being converted into a USB-C wire. Zero latency, right? Yeah, not even a millisecond, right? That's what you want. You want your signal flow to be excellent. The better it sounds, the better it's gonna be. Better your performance will be too as well. So give your guys some credit tonight. I want you guys to understand something. It's almost 9 o'clock, and I want to go ahead and finish this song. I was really into it. But you got here a monitoring system, right? But what I wanted to show you is you've got this microphone picking up the sound, if you will, of the room. The SM58. So there's rarefaction of air sound happening when I speak. Does that make sense? It bounces off the walls, goes through, into the wires, right? Back out into the speakers, then back out into the microphone, then back out through the speakers, and it's a loop. So you're being present in the space. Does that make sense? I want to talk about that discipline. The discipline of this craft. You have to be able to be punctual, guys. Like I said, that's a huge part of it. And you also have to be quick on your feet when it comes to creating something, knowing what you've done for a while as far as your style goes. You know what I mean? It's like picking out what you want to play ahead of time is never really innovative. Doing something innovative is doing it right there on the spot. So, end of the signal flow, we've got what's called loopology. This is where things get really interesting. Okay? Like I said, it keeps going back and forth from the room, right? Boop, 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 boop. There's a sonic constant, okay, that happens then. What I call loopology is there's a science that happens where you get locked into the loop, okay, and you're locked in. You can't make any more choices, if you will, or add anything else to the song. So you have to kind of stop and say, okay, all right, enough. I've done enough already. I've added enough music to the tracks. Doesn't matter what track that you re-record on either. That's another part of this, is that it should all be in time. Even when you have a track already there, I can then go and make 5 new ones. That's where things get interesting too as well, because you're capturing a different time and moment. Different background noise, different TV program. Let's just say she switches from Netflix to Dateline, NBC or whatever, right? Bloop. And you hear that Netflix, hello, I'm on or whatever, and it does that. You hear it, it gets trapped, if you will, in the looping, and then you keep hearing something over and over and over again in your head. Now, that's scary, because then, if you told yourself something really important, if you wanted to tell yourself something really important, you could do it and then loop it and then hear your own voice talking to yourself. People actually use this technology to help with psychology. Yeah. I love you. And then, I love you. I love you. And it loops it over and over and over again. That's one way that you can actually use this equipment to better your mind. I think what happens for me is I get locked into the loop itself, and I realize there's no place to go, and it's enough. No place to go, no place to hide. You can't add more to it, or it'll just be too muddy. Beating a dead horse too much. So the loopology part happens where there's sciences that happen. Psychology of hearing something over and over again can be hard to deal with for certain people. They may become very annoyed by it. Or if it's good enough, it's soothing, right? It's a soothing kind of aspect of things. So you got to be willing to take the change, after you're done eating. All right, here's another part of the science too. When you get to from your origin track to the 5th track, okay, there could be what's called drifting. All right? Drifting is when a track drifts just a little bit, comes in, and then it goes out. It comes in, and it goes out. And there's just a little bit of extra time in the loop. Milliseconds, guys, we're talking. You know what I mean? And it's not right on point. There's a drifting that happens. So I do that a lot. I actually use drifting as a form of loopology. I like it when the track drifts and it has a different sound, if you will, through the signal flow. And it moves in different times. The loop is just a little bit longer, so it drifts back and forth, in and out, in and out, in and out. Right? There's more time in the loop. I think it happened on this case a little bit. Not enough for your ears to really notice and pick it up. No, you'd be You'd be very surprised at what people allow themselves to listen to every day. Okay, so why is it that people play low frequencies all the time, like bass frequencies? Or they like, oh, I love the bass on that. You know, like their car stereo is monstrous, and it has like a huge, you know, two 12s in the back of it. You know, they're really good speakers. You bought really good wiring, and you have a really good source for the stereo itself. You know, something that's high quality. It's gonna bang, guys. It's gonna bang your car. You know. But why do people play low frequencies? That's your homework, guys. If you want to take a ride with me, I'm giving you homework. Teacher asks you a question, all right? And you have to answer it by the time that you get back. Next class, right? All right? Why is it people like low frequencies? Like bass or big bass, if you will, like bass. Why people have big stereos that have these big, you know, bass drums in them? Why? And why does it sound so noisy? Your highs of your regular stereo doesn't sound all that impressive. Why is it that these big speakers need, you know, space to, you know, to vibrate? You know? But the point is, why is it that, you know what I mean? People like bass or low frequencies. That's what I want you to answer. All right, guys, that's enough for today. I may stream the rest of this song. I don't know. Probably not. I'm exhausted. Today at work was pretty busy. And yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this